On February 27th, 2026, it will mark the 30th anniversary of the original release of Pokemon. So, Nintendo was going to do something to celebrate that. And what they decided to do was re-release Fire Red and Leaf Green. So the original storyline, but the updated version from 2004 for the Game Boy Advance. It'll be available on the Switch and the Switch 2. The big problem here is that they're going to be $19.99 each, not for both, and they're not going to be on the Nintendo online service. So, going over to Pokemon.com, posted today, the Pokemon Fire Red version and Pokemon Leaf Green version games are releasing on Nintendo Switch. Pokemon Day is only a week away, and fans will have something extra to look forward to while celebrating 30 years of Pokemon. The Pokemon Fire Red version and Pokemon Leaf Green version games are coming to Nintendo Switch. These classic remakes of Pokemon Red and Green will be available to download from the Nintendo Switch eShop after the conclusion of Pokemon Presents, which takes place on Friday, February 27th, 2026 at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Pokemon Fire Red version and Pokemon Leaf Green version were originally released for Game Boy Advance in 2004, and this Nintendo Switch release will contain much of the same Cantonium charm. Players will be able to revisit the classic story and Pokemon of Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue with the updated graphics you know and love, complete with the excitement of the Sevi Islands introduced in Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Leaf Green version. Players can also look forward to trading Pokemon, battling each other, and more using local communication. Whether you enjoyed these games over 20 years ago or are picking them up for the first time, we hope trainers will enjoy exploring the region that got everything started. So, right off the bat, in a vacuum, very exciting that these are going to be available to download on the Nintendo Switch. I've said for years, and a lot of people have said the same thing, Nintendo was leaving mountains of cash on the table, and the only way to capitalize on Pokemon, even more than they already have, would be to re-release these older games. This is a great first step, though I'm kind of confused as to why they're not doing red version, blue version, yellow version, not Soul Silver, but regular silver, gold version. Like, these seem like titles that would sell very well. Obviously, with the DS-based Pokemon, they'd have to adapt them to how the Switch works. I don't really know how they would do that. I was surprised they never brought them over to the Wii U, because that two-screen experience seemed like it would work very well. But regardless, we are finally getting the first step in something that a lot of people are just wondering why they haven't done this before. But the bigger question, the bigger thing that people are quite agitated about, and understandably so, is the fact that these aren't going to be available on the Switch online service. So obviously tons of older games from previous consoles, including the Game Boy Advance, but Game Boy, NES, SNES, are available on the Switch. Then the Switch 2 has games all the way up to the GameCube, including some Pokemon games that were hard to get and some other GameCube games that were very difficult to find in the wild. So a little bit surprised it's not a part of this, and it's kind of like, I don't know, treated as more important than the other titles there, but I guess that's not so surprising. But it does show that Nintendo is a little greedy. We could have had this available for the same price as everything else, but instead we have to pay $20 for 20-year-old games, which isn't like too outrageous, but it is kind of a lot to ask. And I'm saying all this as somebody who, quite frankly, will probably be buying this on my Switch, but it doesn't mean that I like it. I really would have preferred them coming to Switch Online for that subscription price. But what are your thoughts on this? Are you going to pick up this Pokemon game when it comes out, or are you somebody who's firmly against paying for these 20-year-old games again? I mean, they're cheaper than they were when they launched, which is nice, but certainly a lot to ask for such old games. Let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments. And if you like this, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers here on the Fake Nerds channel. Also, check out our other channels, which include Wiki Good Everything, which is video game video essays, and our sports channel, where we cover sports news, Wiki Good Sports, and our podcasting channel, Better Radio. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I will see you in the next one.